Genshin Impact has been out for almost 2 years, and in that time, so many new characters have been released. Because of this, you may be wondering what an actually good team comp looks like. In this video, I'm going to show off 5 different team comps that you've got to try out. I'll be showcasing some current meta teams, some free-to-play teams, and even some just for fun teams. If you don't have a lot of characters, don't worry. I'll be including some substitutions you can make so you can still run these teams. Without rambling on for too long, let's get right into it. Cause I'm running out of B-roll. Alright, so let's talk about the first team today, Childe Raiden. The team consists of Childe, Xiangling, Raiden, and Bennett. While it's not the best team I'll be showing you today, it sure is a fun team to use and it does fairly well in the Abyss. Here's how you use it. First, you want to swap between characters and use their skills to generate elemental particles. Once you have ults for everyone, you want to put down Bennett ult, then use all 3 ults inside. I recommend using Bennett ult first, then Xiangling, Childe E and then ult, and then use Raiden ult. This gives Childe E enough time to come back after Raiden uses ult. A good thing about this team is that it's harder to take damage because of all the consistent character ulting. One drawback though is that it does require a decent amount of investment into Childe, Xiangling, and Raiden, so if those 3 characters aren't that good, then this team might not be the best for you. For artifacts, you won't have to run anything special, just your standard artifacts for these 4 characters. There aren't really many substitutions you can make for this team, but if you do have a Kazuha, he would fit better in this team better than Raiden. You'd be running more of like an international type team, and then overall, your damage output would be higher. So if you have a Kazuha, feel free to run him instead of Raiden. This is overall a pretty good team if you have a good Childe and a good Raiden. Our next team is going to be the Taser team. This team consists of Beidou, Xingqiu, Fischl, and Sucrose. This team is pretty free to play friendly, and it scales better the more constellations you have for each character. Here's how you use it. First, you want to apply Hydro to enemies. Then, you want to use Sucrose to swirl that Hydro to as many enemies as you can. Then use Fischl's skill followed by Beidou ult and auto attack with Beidou for a little while. Some notes about this team is that you want to run Sacrificial Fragments on Sucrose because you'll be doing more damage with her than you will with Beidou. It's normal to run Thrilling Tales and Dragon Slayers on Sucrose, but for this team, you're going to want to run Sacrificial Fragments. For Beidou, you're going to want to run Skyward Pride if you have it. Otherwise, a 4-star weapon you can run is Serpent Spine, and that one works pretty well. If you're currently running Wolf's Gravestone on Beidou, and you want to keep running it, make sure she has enough energy recharge for smooth rotations. If she can't get her ult back in time, then this team comp kind of falls apart. Some good things about this team is that it's all 4-star units, so it's pretty free to play friendly. It's also great against crowds, so for any Abyss floors with a lot of enemies, this team might be the go-to. Some drawbacks to this team though is that it kind of lacks single target damage. There's also no dedicated healer, and you're going to need a lot of energy recharge for these characters. Also, Beidou and Fischl do need a good amount of investment, so keep that in mind if you're trying to build this team. There aren't really many substitutions for this team either because it's kind of unique, but if you do have Ye, you could probably run Ye instead of Fischl. They're pretty similar and do a similar job. But other than that, you probably should have all 4 of these characters. If you're looking for a solid free-to-play team, then this is a pretty good team to go with. The third team I want to showcase is the Ganyu Melt team. The team consists of Ganyu, Xiangling, Bennett, and Zhongli. This team is technically less optimal than Free's Ganyu, but it's a fun team that will show you some pretty high damage numbers. It's also great if you have good Wanderer's Troop artifacts. Here's how to use it. First, you want to equip a 4-piece Wanderers in Ganyu. That's a must if you're going to run this team comp. You'll want at least 100 Elemental Mastery to really get the benefits of Reverse Melt Ganyu. Place Bennett ult and then place Xiangling ult, then place Ganyu ult. After that, just go crazy with Ganyu. You want to stand near enemies so that Pyronado can actually hit them. Try grouping them up too, that does help. Ideally, you want to run full HP Zhongli with a 4-piece Snasty the Millilith. He's not the main damage dealer of this team comp, so it's more worth it to get the better shield out of his artifacts. Some substitutions for this team comp, you actually cannot sub in Ayaka, and the reason for that is that her internal cooldown for reactions is too long, so Ayaka melt teams aren't really as strong as Ganyu melt teams. Some substitutions you can make though is Zhongli for Diona. This would actually help with energy recharge, but you would get less shielding and less damage shredding because of Zhongli's passive. Some good stuff about this team is that it's a lot of raw damage. Also, Zhongli and Bennett aren't really hard to build here because they don't require too much investment. Some drawbacks to this team is that it really does require a pretty good Wanderer's 4-piece. Elemental Mastery subsets help out because Ganyu is going to be the one proccing the melt reaction. Also, you're gonna need some crit rate substats for more consistent DPS. Since you're not getting any cryo resonance unless you're running Diona, and you're not running the 4-piece cryo set, you're gonna need crit rate substats to help you proc crits more. As I mentioned before, running double cryo does help with this. If you decide to try this team out, tell me your highest damage numbers in the comments. I'm actually pretty curious. Alright, next team. Our fourth team is gonna be the Raiden National team. This team consists of Raiden, Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Bennett. This is arguably the best, most meta team right now. It was used the most to fully clear floors 11 and 12 in the previous Abyss, and it'll probably fare pretty well in the current Abyss too. Here's how you use it. First, you want to build up energy particles by spamming abilities. Then, once you have everyone's ultimates, you want to use Bennett ult first, then Xiangling, followed by Xingqiu, and then use Raiden ult. There aren't too many substitutions you can make for this team, but you could try swapping out Raiden for some other DPS characters and creating so-and-so character National. Some good things about this team is that there's a lot of elemental reactions. A lot of damage happens in this team. It's really good against crowds, and also is good against single targets. Additionally, Bennett and Sucrose don't really require tons of investment. Some drawbacks to this team is that Raiden and Xiangling kind of need some investment to really make the team do more damage. Xingqiu could also use a little bit of investment, but not as much as others do. Overall though, this team is really good, and I highly recommend it if you are struggling with Abyss a little bit. The fifth team we're going to talk about today is the Eula Superconduct team. This team consists of Eula, Raiden, Rosario, and Zhongli. This team is great for Eula because it allows her to really boost her physical damage by a pretty decent amount. Here's how you use it. First, you want to use Raiden's skill and then her burst once you have it. Then proc Superconduct with Rosario and Eula. Use and stack up Eula ult, then rinse and repeat this cycle. You want to build HP percent Zhongli for a pretty strong shield. Some substitutions you can make is that you can substitute Raiden for Fischl, but you do lose Raiden burst damage, and overall you'll probably have less damage if you do this substitution. You can also substitute Zhongli for Diona, but you will lose a little bit of the damage shredding that you get from Zhongli. Some good things about this team is that it uses very strong characters. Damage will be pretty good even if you don't have a ton of investment in them. Eula also has great ult uptime because of Raiden and double cryo. This team also makes use of Rosario's C6 very well, which decreases physical damage resistance. A drawback to this team is that it's not really as strong without Rosario's C6. Alright. I know I said 5 teams in the beginning of the video, but I'm gonna throw in a bonus 6th team just because Yelan just came out and this video is coming out a little bit late. So we're gonna call this team Double Hydro. The team consists of Hu Tao, Yelan, Xingqiu, and Kazuo. While Yelan is still in testing, this team shows a lot of promise and is an easy team to just pick up and use. Not to mention the fact that Yelan's skill is easily one of the coolest abilities in the game. Here's how you use the team. First, you want to use everyone's skills until you get all of their ults. Then, use the ults and switch to Hu Tao to deal massive damage. There's not really much more to this team, it's a pretty simple and straightforward team. There are a pretty decent amount of substitutions you can make for this team. The 4th slot is really just a flex slot. You can kind of run whoever you want there, but I do recommend an animal character like Sucrose or Kazuha for the extra damage they can provide. Hu Tao can be replaced with pretty much any other pyro DPS like Yoimiya, Diluc, etc. Yelan and Xingqiu probably shouldn't be replaced though because they are the core of this team. Some good things about this team is that this team has really good Hydra application. You pretty much never have to worry about Hu Tao not activating a Vaporize herself. Additionally, there's good damage from both Yelan and Xingqiu's blades/needles. Yelan's ult cost is kinda high, so this actually works out very well for her. This team is also good against crowds and single targets. Some drawbacks to this team is that your main pyro DPS should probably be built. They're going to be proccing the reactions and they're going to be doing most of the damage, so they should be pretty well built. Yelan and Xingqiu should also be fairly well built to make sure this team does even more damage. Also, you potentially may have no healer depending on your 4th character. This team is really fun and I recommend trying it out if you have these type of characters. If you're feeling extra spicy, you could try running Triple Hydro with Kokomi. Alright, for real, that is the last team, so we're gonna wrap up the video here. Well, those were the 6 teams that you've got to try out. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments below. Did I miss one of your favorite teams? Let me know. As always, I read all of your comments, so don't be afraid to say something. If you liked the video or found it helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe if you want more guides like this. This is a lot of fun to put together, and honestly, I'd love to make more Genshin guides like this. Other than that, there really isn't much else to say, so I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.